So this is actually an angel story that Spirit led me to an answer or a realization, something I didn't realize before. And believe me, if you've met me before, you'd know that I didn't exactly have a belief or a disbelief in angels, but those are all stories for a different day. So my husband and I, we were driving home from downtown, and we live about 20 minutes from downtown, and we usually take a certain way. And I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm pretty comfy, and I gapped out. I admit I gapped out. And when I came back to where we were in the moment, I realized at this particular turn, in order to get home, my husband had missed it. And normally that wouldn't faze me. I've lived in this city since 1997. We just take a different route. But the odd thing that happened was I couldn't, in my mind's eye, fathom for even a second how to get home. This city that I'd lived in since 1997, I couldn't, in my mind's eye, see how to get home. And I started to panic. And I was like, "You missed our turn." And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "But I can't see how to get home." And he started to panic because of the panic in my voice. And it didn't make sense to me logically why I was completely blank. But my answer was coming. And sure enough, there was another way home. We took the following exit off of where we were headed. And as we take this exit, the answer was given to me. There, on the left side of the road, was a man. And the man had collapsed. And over him were two gentlemen looking very, very panicked over this man's body as it lay prone on the sidewalk. And intuitively, I reached out to this man's spirit, and I knew that he was no longer in his body. And so I went looking, as I call it, left. And there he was. He was standing to the left of his own body. And behind him was the most beautiful, massive, in full regatta, bright angel. And it was so powerful and so amazing to see this man who I couldn't feel his energy coming from his body. It was blank, and these two very frightened people. And to see him standing there observing himself with this massive angel, that the energy was so strong. Me, who I'm not a big crier at all. Tears, gorgeous tears, ran down my cheeks until it soaked my shirt in the awe of the beauty of the energy of this. And this was what I call the third installment of a lesson that Spirit had been teaching me. And in that moment, I knew with absolute certainty, I understood why this happens. And I'm going to share that with you today. What I now understand is that the reason why Spirit takes us from our body and has us observe, or you hear those stories where you're floating above and you see yourself, is so that when we go home, we're not in shock. It's so that we have an understanding, so that we get that it's not a dream, that it's not a hallucination. It's so we can see the finality, that we are done and it's time to go home, so that we're not in shock when we get to the other side. Hope you enjoyed the story today. That's one of my angel stories. Check back for more. Thank you for visiting with me today.